Janet, going to roll back over to you and talk about specific programs. Maybe you can profile something. I definitely want to make sure that we talk about global entry. We've mentioned it a couple times on it. It occurs to me that there's probably people listening that don't know what global entry is. So I want to give you a moment to describe what global entry is, and then maybe highlight some other capabilities, profiles that you have in regards to customer experience.
Thanks, Luke. When travelers arrive at airports, you have a couple of choices when it comes to both TSA and Customs and Border Protection. For TSA, for example, some of us are enrolled in TSA PreCheck, and others are in the regular TSA. And you know that they're divided into two lines, and it's really based on, from a DHS perspective, are you known to us in advance or are you relatively new to us? And so Global Entry is a program for known travelers. So what you do is you register in advance. And so Janet Pence submits some information. I go in for an interview and I become what's called a known traveler. So they pretty much know Janet. They've done vetting on her. And as an agency, we're pretty comfortable that Janet Pence is low risk. And as a low risk traveler, I can enjoy a much expedited process normally when I come back into the country again. So I normally pay for this service, although a number of credit cards will offer services like that as a benefit if you get their credit card. So it's the program has grown exponentially in popularity, and we know that as a paid program, we want to deliver that. We want people to get what they've paid for as far as outstanding customer service. So I'd like to stay on the topic of global entry and talk about the way we're focusing customer experience, which is a concept around time back. And it starts with, I want to ping off what Tim said in focusing on the employee. The reason we are called CBP experience in CBP and not customer experience is we're putting CBP first in the equation. And so for global entry, for example, we first focused on our officers that are performing the work associated with global entry. And so we got some key folks together from both the field and headquarters, and we had a workshop, an all-day workshop, and we talked about what customer experience is, and then we talked about global entry. And we looked at our as-is process. We looked at some of the problems we're having or the glitches. Where do applicants get caught up in the application process? What problems are we having at entry? And we developed 119 recommendations from the officers that were both focused on streamlining things internally as well as helping the customers on the external side. Now, we don't just rely on CBP employees, of course, to get information about global entry. As important is to get that feedback from the traveling public. But really, with this time back, from a CBP perspective, we call it time back to mission. And our initiative is to measure that time back to mission associated with technology insertions. So we'll look at a process and we'll measure the time we spend on the process. We'll insert a new technology and then we'll measure again. And from that, we are able to get that numeric indicator of how much more efficient we have become. Now, on the public side, CBP, it's time back to mission, and with a workforce of 67,000 employees, if theoretically, if we saved if we saved 1 minute per employee, that's a gain of 67,000 minutes. So it adds up pretty fast across a large workforce. Now, for the public, I think of it as time back to life. So a good experience with CBP is an efficient and a expedited experience. And so when I go to airports now and I watch people coming in using global entry, a lot of times they'll come through and they'll say, "Wait, that's it? I'm done?" And it's the delight on their face that they've had a seamless, quick, efficient experience is just a beauty to behold. And so that's what we're really aiming for. The same thing with international trade. We want to keep that freight moving. We're focused now on things like perishables. The longer strawberries or tomatoes sit waiting to be cleared at the border, the less fresh they are. And we all want fresh tomatoes and fresh fruit. And we want our goods. We want those things we ordered on Amazon. We want them quick. And so we understand that we play a vital role in the supply chain. And again, we are focused on that time back.